Hey, welcome to the edition of Keene No Spin. I'm Randy Filio.
And I'm Chris Coates.
Yes, you are. We just got here 30 seconds ago, but we are looking fresh and ready to go. Except his computer's not turned on yet, so we'll just pretend that it is.
Okay.
Anyhow,
now it is.
Another couple of weeks have gone by, and I guess we're going to jump right into the local stuff. Another city councilor has put his name in to run for mayor.
Yep.
And it's not me.
No, it's not you, and it's not Terry Clark. And so far, I'm batting 1,000 in that Mitch and
George Hansel.
George Hansel is the other individual. In that I said that if there was others, that those were the other two people that may be. But
it's not a big surprise. These two, for those of us that have been dabbling in politics for a while, no big secret. These two were going to come out and put their names in. Didn't know when. Both of them jumped on board pretty early because it's only May. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a long campaign going forth. But like you said, who else? I mean, my gut feeling is there'll probably be two or three more. Maybe known names, maybe not known names.
Really?
Well, the last time that the incumbent stepped down, 6 people ran because I was one of them, and I think my gut feeling is at least 2 more are going to put their name in. I think at least 2 more. It could be more, but who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
And as I told you a long time ago, you need to get out of the primary.
Oh, you do.
The
primary is tough. In my opinion, the primary should be eliminated, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because the primary, once again, Chris, and I was part of it, say 3 people run for mayor, the one that's kind of known to the left and the one that's kind of known to the right usually makes it through the primary because those are the core voters that vote. And in the primary, you're kind of middle of the ground voters like, maybe we vote, maybe we don't.
Yeah. So, all right. So
primary is tough.
So how I look at it right now, you got 2 good candidates, and that's a good thing for the city of Keene.
Both well known.
Both well known. Both have been active in this community for years, You got to be happy if you're a citizen of Keene, whether you're for George or you're for Mitch. You got to be happy that you have choices. Mm-hmm. And if there's other people that join in, the conversation gets that much more.
Yep.
And my understanding is George launched last night in an official way with some media and all this.
Right.
It really has done a good job on the Facebook and all that, and on some of the videos, and got a endorsement video out there of some people that are stepping up too. And Mitch has announced, but his initial official kickoff is sometime in the next week or 2 or whatever.
Sometime down the road. Now, just for clarification purposes and just to be clear, I have endorsed Mitch. I did when he first announced.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Is that right?
I didn't know you did.
Yep. Actually, when Mitch announced on WKBK that morning, I was listening to it, and I called right in. And I had told, look, I've been friends with Mitch for 45 years.
Yeah.
So not only is he a qualified candidate, man, he's a longtime friend.
Yeah.
And for me, it's always friends before politics. And so I knew for a while that Mitch was going to put his name in. I told him for a long time, I said, if you run for mayor, I'm going to endorse you. And not just because we're friends, because he's qualified. I've got a lot of friends that I'd never endorsed for mayor, trust me. And then, I found out a little bit down the road, then George is going to put his name in. And, obviously George is a qualified candidate. And, I wish him well because he's a good person. But like I said, I've endorsed Mitch. I'm going to stand behind him. And
where was I? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, see, you slept in late that morning.
Yeah.
Mitch kind of did the soft announcement. He just kind of called the radio station and said, I'm going to announce. And they said, well, why don't you come down? So he showed up at Dan Mitchell's show at 6 o'clock in the morning and just said, I'm running.
Yeah.
But he didn't do the big formal thing, but he will. He'll do the endorsement thing, get the speakers to back him, and kind of the more ceremonial dog and pony send off the fireworks show,
Yeah.
So he's still due to that, and then we'll see if anybody else puts a name in. But once again, Chris, it's the first week of May.
Yeah.
But
you know what that means?
It's a lot of work.
You know, what
Lot
it
of
means.
work.
Well, it is and it isn't.
When I
mean,
say
don't-
when I say a lot of work, producer, that's coming out of my voice, not his. There we go.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's interesting though is it is and it isn't. You know, I know
what it
that
is, Chris? A lot of stress.
It's
A lot of stress.
well, and I know that I think in the article today, I think I read it in somewhere in there that George said it's got 6 months to get to know people, get to know the voters, and yes and no. The summer plays a weird
It
factor in all this because people aren't paying attention.
aren't.
And it's not. It's
You're
really
right.
you take a break at the end of June. You take a break for 2 months, which I think is a good thing for everybody, especially with the national elections that's going right now.
Yep.
And then you come back in September, and it's about the second weekend that people start paying attention, and
You're right.
and then you
It's
go from
back
there.
to school.
And then
When-
what
when-
is it?
when it's back to
October is the
school.
primary, and November is the
general
election.
Yep.
And then, so that's what happens. And then, I mean, things start heating up. Near the end of August, things campaign-wise start heating back up.
Yep.
It's not to say things aren't going on, but people aren't paying attention because they're at the beach.
And
They're at the lake.
You're right.
They're
It's summertime,
someplace.
and especially now, which is tough for both mayoral candidates right now, with all the presidential issues that are going on right now. You know, what is it, 192 Democrats running and one Republican. But
Two.
well, that's right, too. That's right.
Two
Welder's in there.
Republicans.
But there's political burnout. That this year, more than any other year that I've seen, people are fried with politics. So it makes it tough for the local
Well-
election to get that energy generated. You know, because people are
And
politically burnt out.
whether people agree with my political views or not, I don't really care anymore. But
If they disagree with you, they're wrong.
But
Right.
I think over the last few years, whether you're Republican or Democrat, and whether you're for this president or you think this president is the worst things, then it's been an onslaught of constant.
24/7.
You know, one side it's
24/7.
You know, the left is attacking on the other side. It's Trump being Trump, and so I think people are burnt out, and that worries me because some of the things that can be said are not like earth-shattering anymore.
Oh, I
like
know.
in old day politics, some of the things that have been said or done or what it's like, and I also think I don't know what the Democrats are doing in Washington anymore. I don't. I think there should be two visions. One is you go after what you need to go after if laws have been broken, and maybe they're getting there slowly, but maybe I don't know. It's not apparent what they're really doing, and at the same time, get the job done. Get the job done. You know, and on the Republican side, they're just holding course, hoping that 2020 gets here, and it's that they have an election where their people come out and they can take back the House, which I don't see. I don't see us taking the Senate. Maybe we do, but I don't know.
Well, one thing Trump has done, he's set the bar about as low as it could. It's lower than I think any of us could ever imagine the bar would be set.
Yeah.
I mean, how much lower can the bar go? I mean, it's just, and every time he disagrees with something, he just does an executive order. But at the same
You're
point,
pretty ruthless. No, I don't mean today. Today you're late, but on Facebook.
oh, yeah.
Man, you just say whatever you feel like saying.
that's
But I think you've gotten to a point in your life where you just don't care anymore.
No, I don't.
You look at me and say, "This is who I am."
That's it. I am so fed up with Trump in Washington, and it's like, and I'm mad at the Democrats also in Washington because it's like, damn it, do something. And I hear some of the Democrat presidential candidates going, well, we don't know if we should really write articles of impeachment because it'll take the focus away from the campaign. Screw your campaign. It has nothing to do with your campaign.
What's right and
If
what's
a law's
wrong?
been violated and you think it's been violated,
Yeah.
then you do articles of impeachment.
Right.
Stop worrying about yourself. It's country first. So in that particular case, the Democrats aren't putting country first either. They're putting their campaigns first.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
Oh God, is it frustrating? And then kind of alluding back to the mayoral race, that's the type of that's what they're getting into.
Well,
They're getting into that.
If you're looking from the outside in, though, I mean, throw all the crap of politics aside. What the first day whoever gets elected, what are they going to be facing? You have a budget that came out today. There's a slight bump in the taxes. What is it?
Yeah, 1%. I got it right here. About 1.5%, 21 cents per thousand in Keene. I mean, it's still an increase. Taxes do not go down.
Yeah.
It's just whenever anybody runs for any office and they say, I'm going to lower your taxes, don't vote for them because they're lying. It doesn't happen. Unless there's some amazing new revenue coming in that's going to offset your property taxes, they're not going down. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, I think years ago, when we decided, we voted, and I was on the council, you were on the council, that we voted to put the infrastructure out at Blackbrook. The idea was that it wasn't the answer, but it was a great help in creating an industrial base, which is the best tax revenue you can put in place.
Oh, yes.
And that's what we did. And it still doesn't, it really is, when everything is looked at closely, one, I bet you if I looked at this budget and actually took the time to go through it slowly, you probably are holding back on some things. That scares me. It scares me about the increases. I mean, I do a budget, so I know what you guys are going through, and ours was 0.73 this year, so it was less than 1%. Right. And it wasn't that we had the city in mind. It wasn't that we had the school district to say we want to be lower than anybody. No, it was this. This is where we think we always first start with, can we get to 2%? And when we get to 2%, what does that look like? And is there ways that we can even, and we were able to get down to 0.73, and it without hurting, and without, when we're still getting major projects done. And my concern is, and I've said it on this show and I've said it on the radio, is what is it that you're not doing per se to the fullest extent? Now, roads are going to be worked on. But are you doing them differently? Are you not doing the policies the practice that was put in place in the past? Those are the things that scare me. So those are things as you go through it, I hope you advocate, because you don't seem to care about what you say on Facebook around politics. Well, if it doesn't make sense anymore, then be the pain in the ass that you...
Oh, I can be a pain in the ass. Clearly.
In a healthy way.
My wife will agree with that, too. As an example, you are right. It's a matter of, it's never this huge expenditure that catches the eye of everybody and it's like, oh my God, it makes the front page of the paper. It doesn't work like that. It's little expenditures at a time that, that, because you write the budget. It adds up. And I'll tell you a couple of things to toot my own horn that I voted against. It was the crosswalks downtown that we painted red that cost twice as much if we had just painted them white. Okay? It went through. It was the expenditure recently down in front of Keene State College. We're doing 2 elaborate crosswalks with flashing lights. We have to dig underground to put some electrical, wires in. The cost came up in the end almost double what we originally thought it was going to go. I was the only council that voted against it. And it went through quietly. The media didn't pick up on it. The Sentinel said nothing on it. The radio said nothing on it, okay? And you get a lot of councilors that say how fiscally conservative they are, but I was the only vote against it, and it went through quietly. Those add up. So you get the crosswalks downtown. You got those crosswalks, and now when you look at the budget, and I'll be voting against the $180,000 study for downtown.
Yeah,
it's like $180,000 to say, okay, let's do another study to see how we improve downtown. And I've said it, and I'll say it again. And I'm been opposed to the mayor, and I have been totally at odds with this.
Wait a second. Wait. You're doing another study? What happened to the last study?
The last one I voted against?
No, but the last study. You had it last study. It was a group from Colorado or something.
Right. Yeah, basically.
So you just put that in a drawer?
Yeah, well, basically. Because, look, as far as downtowns go in the city's Keene size, we're doing a pretty damn good job. Okay? If you look at Concord, New Hampshire, they did a study also. And basically the study said, you should be like Keene. So what are we going to do, a study to say we should look like ourselves?
I hear that all the time, but is that really?
It's true.
It's true.
You're in Concord. You go up there, take a look at their downtown.
No, I understand.
With the exception of the damn cobblestone crosswalks that they built.
No, but I understand that. But there's other towns that are like that have done some of the similar things. I mean, Keene's not the only one.
No,
I mean, I think we sometimes rest our laurels on our past. and we need to be looking more to the future of, we did do some things in 1980, and we upgraded it throughout the years a little bit here and there, but it's not rocket science.
No,
you know?
and we've been tweaking as we go, though. It's not like what we did in the 80s, we stopped and have done nothing since then. If you look at, downtown, which used to be all retail, which it's not. Now it's pretty much all restaurants, eateries, Colonial Theater, hotels.
Yeah.
We didn't do a major expenditure. We've tweaked as we've gone. We took out some of the curbing. We put in we allowed room for outdoor seating. It wasn't a major expenditure. We've been arguing for a while that the crosswalks in Keene aren't well lit in downtown. And so one of the arguments was, well, we're going to wait down the road to spend this $180,000. Maybe 3 or 4 years down the road, we'll put additional lighting downtown. And yes, I argued against that, and I said, look, let's at least put some temporary lighting on the side of the poles aiming over the crosswalks. City manager took it. It was handled administratively, as they call it.
Yeah.
City manager looked at it, got together with Public Works.
And it was done.
It was done. A couple of little, they're small, couple little spotlights on each crosswalk. Did it cost us a fortune? No, not at all. We did it within the budget that we have. You do not need to spend, $150,000, $180,000, $250,000 to recreate something. Sometimes you can do it in-house, and that's always been my argument. We have enough expertise in-house. We have downtown business people. We have city councilors. We have county commissioners. You have a lot of people in-house that can do it. When we keep bringing in these committees from outside the area saying, "What do you think?" They think way outside the box, but it's something that we would never do. And you just mentioned this last study. They came in and threw some pie-in-the-sky options that nobody would ever accept. We think this would be neat.
Yeah, and I also think that they had some pie in the sky, but they also had some normal things.
Not too many.
And but the problem was, people started talking about the pie in the sky stuff. So everything got lots. It's like a few years ago when the school district wanted to take a look at their elementary school on the east side, and they were going to do one school and blah. It was like a conversation that caught fire before all the facts were in, and that they were still sort of just looking at it. And I think that we have a lot that's in place now. There's little things that need to be tightened up. We need to make a decision around the meters. We need to make a decision around electricity. There's some people downtown that I think it creates an atmosphere that want to put their own lighting around their area. I have no problem with that, but shouldn't we then build into it some level where they can plug into that? Not, have something that makes sense. And maybe it can't happen, but if it could, that should be. Because I know the stage, and I know Pedraza's when it was there.
Lucas.
And they painted that today. I wonder what they're putting in there. I've heard American Grill type restaurant is going to be going in. Be which it's not a bad fit for downtown.
Well, the two as we jump tracks here a little bit, but
Pedraza's closed.
Pedraza's in the Boathouse. They were connected inside. You can go from one to the other.
Yeah, and you could go from Mexico to
Mexican to American, basically.
Yeah.
So now instead of a Mexican taco, it'll be an American taco or an American burger.
Yeah.
So it's good because it'll generate excitement.
Hey, I heard today up in Hillsborough, they've got Tukey's and they got some other food eateries up there, but they said, this woman I was talking to said that the best tacos that she's ever had, and she said, I've been all over, is this little, she said, it looks like a little hole in the wall, but you go in on Tuesdays and they have Taco Tuesdays.
Taco Tuesday is pretty popular.
Best tacos she has ever eaten anywhere.
Is that right?
And it's like in the old, like where the old grocery store used to be in Hillsborough, down in the, as you go down in by I think it's down by the diner in that area. Yep. So just giving you, if you're out driving and you're looking for some tacos and it's Tuesday. So, but, I always like to share.
But getting back to lighting downtown.
No, I still want to talk about Taco Tuesday.
I'm
now hungry.
Huh?
Go ahead.
But the lighting, as far as they strung lights over the sidewalk. Some within the city are like, we're going to take a look at that. But that's something that can be handled internally. That's something the business owner, the city council, we get together, we look at it. You don't need to spend money on an outside committee to figure that out. That is not complicated. Yeah, you have to make sure that they're on GFIs, and they're safe, and if a light fixture falls, nobody gets electrocuted on Keene sidewalks, you know.
Yeah.
But it isn't rocket science. We can do this without spending money.
Right.
We really can. And I think going back historically, and you were on the council for a long time, and so have I, sometimes I think we make things overcomplicated. I think we need to make it more complicated than what we do, and we don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at. And that 180,000 that I told you about, that's still in the budget. That the mayor's endorsing and a couple other city councilors are endorsing. I am not. And actually, as we're taping the show, tomorrow night's the budget meeting, that'll be the first thing that I bring up. It's like, get that $180,000 out of there. And I'll tell you something. That $180,000.
$180,000.
For a
That's a
study.
lot of money.
Yeah, it is. And if that's gone, let me tell you something. We won't miss a beat, except we'll save $180,000. We'll still get things done.
Well, but my concern is that then we're going to be 3-5 years out and we haven't done anything because there's no clear direction. I mean, you can cut something out, but if you don't have a clear direction with the cut, then the expectation would be that you cut this out of the budget, but then after the budget is adopted and that's not in there, you go and say, we cut this out of the budget, but my expectation would be that over the next 6 months, over the next month, we'll have a report back from the city manager that how she's going to move us forward without doing the study.
Or what you do, so the line item's in there. It's for downtown redevelopment. So you have a line item in the budget, or you fund it at $1 and you leave it in there. It's like, okay, we're leaving it in there. We're going to do it for $1, which means it's going to be city staff, city council, and business owners, and nobody's getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it stays in the budget. It's there. You focus on it. It's not eliminated. You're just doing it with city staff and volunteers. So that way the focus is still there. You're right. It doesn't go away. It's there. You put a timeline on it, and you direct the city manager and whoever the new mayor is.
I'm not throwing the city manager underneath the bus, but I'm just saying I don't want to see, personally as a taxpayer in the city of Keene, I don't want to see you go another multiple years without doing anything because you took the money out. Is it really 180 that you need? Is it 30,000 you need because, or are you just saying $1, that's it?
Here's my point on that, Chris. If you put $250,000 in that line item, you'll spend it. If you put $150,000 on the line item, you'll spend it. If you put $1 on it, you'll spend it, and it'll still get done. Because that's the way Keene is. It'll get done.
Yeah.
You need people to push, and we got 2 new people running for mayor. So I'll challenge both mayoral candidates. We're going to do this line item with $1 in, and we're still going to get it done.
Do you have the support for that?
It'll get done. It's an election year. You can always get support.
Okay.
But yes, you can. But you.
Here's the thing that's
but
crazy.
as a counselor, and you know this, you need 7 other people to agree with you on city council.
What's the most heated topic when it comes to the budget?
It's always
outside agencies.
Always.
And something like this is normally just okay. We move
whatever.
on.
Yeah.
You
need a $250,000 for New Val. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's just.
It's true.
So,
It's
well,
true.
that will be interesting too. So tomorrow night, now Mitch is the chair of finance.
That is correct.
Okay. So he starts off with certain departments coming in and his committee.
Right.
And who else is on finance?
Okay. You got Tom Powers, Terry
Yeah.
Clark,
Yeah.
Bettina Chadbourne,
Yeah.
and
Mitch.
Mitch.
And
what's
it's
his name
5?
And for Ward 2, it's I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a brain cramp here right now.
Carl Jacobs.
Carl Jacobs.
Okay.
That's the 5th one. So they're the 5. But the full council can get involved, but you have to.
No, I
you have
understand
to be
that.
there.
But if a motion is put on the floor, you guys are locked out, right?
Yeah, you've got to. You have to be there. You have to be there and be vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
Is there other things in there that you looked at, that are, and where does the public go to look at this? Is it online already?
Yeah, you can go to. It's online. You can go to City Hall. Get a copy. You can download
You
the
can
budget.
get a copy from City Council.
if
Do
you
you have to pay for it?
No. If somebody needs a copy, you can come read mine, and you can download it also from the city site, which most people don't.
Yeah.
And people can do something different too and actually show up to a budget hearing. But I'll tell you, Chris, people don't show up to budget hearings because unfortunately, they kind of just given up on it.
Yeah.
And that's true with politics all across the board. People feel, you know what, it's not going to matter. You know, I'm not going to be heard, which is a bad attitude to have. You should show up because I'll tell you, and we've joked about this before, if a city councilor gets 5 calls on an item, it gets your attention.
Yeah.
So literally, if you have
My
something
phone has been ringing off the hook.
that means 5 calls.
Yeah.
That means 5 calls. If you're a constituent out there and there's something you like or don't like, and you show up to the city council, bring 9 friends with you, or get 9 friends, and all 10 of you call every city councilor.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets attention.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, a councilor, it'll be right. They'll say nobody's called on this at all. Now, kiosks downtown, yep, I probably get about 15 calls on it. Probably about 40 to 50 emails and texts on it. So people did their homework on it, and that's why the vote went the way it did, because people actually made the phone calls. Phone rang off the hook. Might have been 5 calls, but out of 23,000 people, think about that. 23,000 people in Keene, and if 10 people make a phone call to every city councilor, I can almost assure you, you're getting your way.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Is that a work in progress? The other day I walked by, I didn't see meters at every parking lot. Our parking space.
Parking space?
Yeah.
You know what? Since I
Oh, you don't live down
I don't
there
live
anymore.
downtown anymore.
That's
I'm
right.
like, yeah, geez, I'm out of there. I'll have to go look when I leave today
Is
from here.
any city councilor not running again yet, or is it too early to know?
Well,
Are you running again?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. It's probably it's hard to say it's the last hurrah. How many years have I been saying that? But I'm in my late 20s now.
Yeah.
I'm getting up there. Obviously, George Hansel's not because he's running for mayor.
Yeah.
I've heard, and nobody hold me to this. I've heard Carl Jacobs isn't sure.
Yeah.
I've heard Councilor Lamro isn't sure. Neither of them have said either way, so I'm not putting words in
And
their
they
mouth.
weren't sure last time, or at least Lamro wasn't sure last time. So.
He wasn't sure. So,
Well, it's time consuming. It's a
it's very
commitment.
time consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that. That's the thing about the city council, school board too. But you get a lot of crap,
Oh yeah,
and
that you get, and it's free
and
too.
you're trying to do the best you can with the information you have.
That's it. That's if you're going there for the money and to be praised, you're getting into the wrong gig.
Yeah.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
And the only reason you run for city council is honestly because you care. If you're going there for any other reason, man, you're making a mistake, because you're not going to get praised at all. And you're not going to make friends. It just doesn't work that way, especially in today's day and age of politics. All you're going to get is criticized.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And if you got thin skin, man, it's the wrong gig to be in, because the bad news always gets the attention. And I've said, if I vote on 100 things and I vote on 99 that people agree with, it's the one that you voted on that people don't agree with, they will call you on it. It is what it is. And if you get voted out, you get voted out.
Right.
It's not like Congress where you're in it for life. If you're in for city council and you get voted out, you have Thursday nights off. Is what it is.
Right. Yep.
You've been there and done it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about. You're not there for the praise by any stretch of the
I never got voted off. I got moved out of my
moved out of a ward.
ward.
That's one thing you and I have in common.
Yeah.
You get.
Yeah, but it's so ridiculous.
Isn't it crazy?
To this day,
They've changed it too now.
They changed it and then they changed
After
it
we got
back and then
voted.
they changed it back again. I mean, they changed it since I was there.
Now you were in 2, and they said
I
you were in
was
3.
in
right?
2, and and I lived on Gilsham Street,
Right.
which is across the street from Ward 2.
The rec center, which
Rec
you
center.
vote Ward 2 in. Yep.
Yeah, and they said that there was 3 houses on that street, or 4 houses on that street that were within Ward 3, and mine was one of them.
Yeah.
And we went and we checked that stuff out, and they didn't catch it then, and so I had to step down. And then a few years later, they made it Ward 2.
Yeah, they moved it
And
back.
then now it's Ward 3 again. So I watch everybody walk over to vote, and I have to get in my car and drive all the way to the middle school when I'm literally across the street from the voting area.
That's almost funny, because when I lived downtown, and I'd been on the council for 15 years, in Ward 2, I lived in the carriage house building downtown.
It wasn't one side of the street was...
Yeah, basically the voting line came right to the middle of the building. Well, the map, when I ran, showed that the line went around one side and the building was in Ward 2. Well, Well, then after I had been living there for like 4 years, somebody came up with the idea. It's like, oh, one of the maps shows the line goes to the other side of the building. So now the building is Ward 1. And everybody in that building that had been voting in Ward 2 for years were now told, oh, no, it's Ward 1. And so I get booted off council because of that.
Yeah.
You know? And then, yes, a couple years later, well, it was less than a couple years later, somebody came up with another map, said, oh, no, it was in Ward 2.
Yeah.
But they never changed it. They left it. So you and I, it's the Ward 2 conspiracy.
Yeah.
That's how they get you out of there if they don't like how you're voting.
Yeah.
They just find a new map. So now, whenever you run for council now, when you go in, they have a map. That
Do they?
When you go in now, the city clerk will go to the map and show your address and have you kind of initial that you're in a ward. It's called the kind of the Chris and Randy rule.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's not fun
No.
to get booted out like that. I remember the night you get booted out.
Oh man, I was like
You weren't happy.
devastated. Devastated.
And I was too. Years down the road, I'm thinking, oh, this can't ever happen again. Oh, it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You know, so
And
hopefully
then
it never happens.
and then I think I was off for about 6, not even, maybe 3 months, and then Chuck Laracy, you know, at that point decided to step down, and so I
Yep.
came and had to come before the council and say why I thought I was, and they elected me, and so I was back on.
Yeah, I said, oh God, he's back. Yeah.
So-
You know, well, after I stepped down, after I get forced off, I was off for a number of years, and before I decided, yeah, let's try again.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So, all right. So you know, going back to our initial conversation, it's,
what was that?
it's
What were we
really
talking about?
really it comes down to, you know, the mayor, whoever that individual is going to be facing some situations. You know, the uncertainty of the workforce in companies that are in the city
Mm-hmm.
is always going to be there. That doesn't mean you run and hide from it, but it just means how do you look at it and how do you work with those companies and so that's one thing. It's, you know, the relationship with Keene State. It's I mean, there's a litany of things. I mean, we have a hospital in our community, and people don't always realize the importance of having that. Not every community has a hospital in their community.
And one thing they have now is a new boiler too, so that's a good thing.
A new boiler,
New boiler,
and
yeah.
and
New ventilation
repair
system.
to a stack
Yeah.
that had some problems when it blew up.
Another story for another day, but it goes to show how things can change in a heartbeat, huh? But I mean, you're right with business and
Hospital
Keene, Chris.
heartbeat.
Hear that too.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of you hear a lot about, you know, what are we going to do to get other businesses to come into your community, which is tough, especially in our little corner of the world over here, you know, near the Connecticut River. But as you just mentioned, it's also a chore keeping the businesses that you have here. I mean, can you imagine losing a CNS?
Well,
you know?
Blackbrook wasn't built because of CNS. Blackbrook was because of Smith Medical.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
there was a bigger plan you know, as we went through the process, but Smith Medical wanted to grow at that
Yes,
point.
they did, and they were saying
And-
that they were going to bail.
Right,
Remember that?
and
They were
so
gonna leave town.
we were pushed to really come up with a plan around that.
Yep.
And that's why that happened. I mean, think about it. Think about
Didn't
the
get- you know
growth
what?
of the
Didn't
growth of
get
the
a lot
city.
didn't get a lot of positive press either when you think about it. A lot of people still don't know why the whole Blackbrook happened, and you just mentioned it. Because our one of our biggest employers was going to bail out of town.
Well, and prior to us putting industry there, for a lot of people should remember that CNS wasn't coming over here headquarter-wise.
Nope.
No, they're looking at bringing their distributing
Yep.
portion of their company over here.
Yep.
And that got a lot of pushback. You know, we were in the valley. I remember those hearings. It was
Oh, yeah.
like it just didn't make sense. And they saw that, and they realized that, you know, it was more about, you know, bringing the corporate headquarters over here, and it was the right thing to do. And
Yep.
we're better for it. We're better for that. We're better to have Keene State here. We're better because of Cheshire Medical being here. We're better for a lot of things. You know, Hannah Grimes, I think that there are going to be times that you have an opportunity to bring some level of company in here, whether that's 100 or less, seems more reasonable to me.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely.
we have the entrepreneur, you know, in the incubator at Hannah Grimes, and there's a lot of people out there doing this. There's a lot of small businesses and wanting to take the next step, and that's where we should, you know, we could be a hotbed for that and have these small little because in this day and age, if we can meet certain national audience needs, then companies, the small companies like that, can do their thing. So,
Yeah, 20, 30, 40 employees. That's finding these companies that are going to hire 1,000 people. First of all, Keene we don't have the work base to do that.
Yeah.
A big company looks at Keene like, you don't have enough people. But you're right. The companies that come in 20, 30, 40 employees.
Right.
That's what Keene's looking at. If you're looking to hire 1,000 people, you're not going to be Keene. You're going to be looking outside of Boston.
Right.
It's just the way it is. Once again, the next mayor coming in really has to look, down the road and say, okay, what do we do different?
Yeah.
Because status quo, it doesn't really work anymore.
Ted McGreer last Saturday had his annual Cinco de Mayo.
I saw your picture.
A little.
Somebody get you on Facebook. I saw your smiling face.
Yeah. And I love those. I mean, there was a lot going on actually. The chamber had an event going on this past weekend. There was it seemed like everybody had something that was going on, and I want to put a shout out that this week. So if you watch this
someday,
it is, what is today? Today is the 8th.
Yep.
So tomorrow is the 9th. So it's
very good.
I'm just trying to think.
Get your calculator
That's Thursday, 10th, 11th. So the 10th and the 11th of May, Nostalgia Night, Keene High School.
You know what? I saw that. I've got to go to that. I'm going to make a note of that right now.
It is. I say it on the radio. They're going to be on the radio show on Saturday, at 10 o'clock. They're going to be coming on, even though they've already done a night.
On your radio show?
Even though they came on, even though they had a show on Friday, they wanted to come on, and hopefully they're going to come on and sing a few songs. And I love it because it showcases the richness and the talent that goes on. And I just don't think sometimes, I know we do not do, within the schools, we do not do enough to promote the incredible stuff that is going on. The Sentinel has their thing that they put out there, but the school district needs to own this and get this out there.
You're on the school board again, right?
Yeah, and that
ball's in your court there, buddy.
I know, and I've been pushing this. That the bottom line for me is that, we need to make sure people know that they can go to these and they can enjoy these things just like everybody else can.
Oh yeah.
On
a tight budget, because Keene can be pricey with some of the activities that go on, even some of the.
You know what I just noticed? Doesn't that look like, or there you go. How do weather people do that? And here,
yes,
you have to do the opposite of what you think you need to do. But doesn't that look like a marijuana plant growing behind us?
Hey guys, we got to talk.
Or not.
It's almost legal.
Yeah. So Nostalgia Night. It's just you have kids that are from the a cappella choir. You have groups. You have the jazz band, and it's just great. And it's amazing what Keene High School can do. And I say this, from Monadnock too, because they've always had a great, when Mr. Croto and others were down there, and they still do to this day, have great music departments and theater. And so, this weekend, if you have time and you're looking for something, it's a few dollars, you grab a slice of pizza someplace or something, and at the end of the evening, maybe you've spent $25 with the pizza and everything. If you just go to the show, I think it's like $7. I could be wrong, but I think it's like $7. It's not much, and you can get cookies there.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
while you mention that, Chris, there's a lot of events in Keene, and Keene has a lot of nonprofits, and they're excellent nonprofits because they raise a lot of money for various causes. And there's been a lot of events where they go and they held out of the Y, they held at the Country Club. I'm just going to put a shout out to some of these nonprofits. Drop your prices a little bit. A lot of them $75 a person. It's $150 a couple. I get it. You got to raise as much money as you can, but a lot of people that I spoke to really wanted to attend a couple of these events. A, because it's a worthy cause, and B, it's a fun night out. Mm-hmm. But they're pricing themselves out of a lot of Keene residents. And, you know, there's been a couple of them that have come up recently. They're both $75 a person just to get in. You know, it's a cash bar or whatever. But, you know, $150 for a couple just to go in to a nonprofit event that they wanted to, you know, help. I think maybe $75 would be the recommended, but, you know, try to take a look at it and drop some of these numbers a little bit, you know, because I really think so many people that I talked to that wanted to go, it's like, you know, you're just not going to drop $150 just to walk in. And I think it's becoming too much of a status symbol than it is actually raising money for a good cause. When you start charging $150 a couple for a nonprofit, it's kind of getting to the point of, you know, people are going there to be seen, and not so much just to put money into a worthy cause. So that's my shout out. You know, I don't know how much attention it's going to get. I've spoken to a couple other people about it too. It's like, let's be a little bit reasonable here. And because you just brought up nostalgia night, $7-8 a person.
It could be more than that, but it's not much.
It's not much. I mean, it's a couple of bucks. I mean, the price, you know, toys you can go for the price of a pizza. That's, in my opinion, the way Keene should be.
Yeah.
You know, make it affordable. You know, there are people in the community that are doing very well. There's a lot of people in Keene that are struggling and just do the week to week to get by. That have lived in Keene their entire lives. That live in these middle class neighborhoods. That remember when the Y was forever on Roxbury Street. You know, when it was a kind of a tighter budget type YMCA. And in the nonprofits, you could go someplace for, you know, $5 or $10. You know, I'm not going to dwell on it any longer, but, you know, let's focus here. You know, we're
So I shouldn't have gone?
you should have just loaned me the money and take me on your date next time. You know? I don't know, which one did you go to?
I went to the Y.
Which one was that?
The Y sneaker ball?
Sneaker ball?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Behave yourself?
Well, you know, I attend, you know, and I also do the fundraiser for MoCo, but I participate in that, and then I buy my wife, who goes, the ticket. And I do it because it raises money for kids that otherwise may not be able to afford to go. So to me, if I need to pay a little bit more on those situations, it's worth the cause is worthy, you know, for me. It just makes sense to me. And I also make an ass of myself by dancing, you know, with, you know, Ted and Luca and others. It's a blast rehearsal-wise, but, you know.
I guess what I'd like to see is maybe even as
I think
maybe a sliding scale, you know, of like, hey, if you can afford 25, give 25. If you can afford 75, then give 75.
I think that what I'm hearing you say, though, is, and in my mind, maybe these events need to continue to occur because the revenue that they generate allows kids to be able to attend. But are there other things, other events that could be, they do this event, is there something else that they could do?
Yeah.
Like I mean, you know, when I started the spaghetti dinner well, I didn't start this, I shouldn't say that. When I helped run the spaghetti dinners for the Dems, you know, it was $15, you know, you know, it was, you know, Mike Blastos in the pub did the spaghetti. We were able to take over the old cafeteria at Keene High School.
Yep.
And we'd still fill the place.
Pack it.
And we would set the tables. We would clear the tables. And, I mean, we took care of it, you know, a lot of it. And we would generate revenue. And I understand in this day and age, especially because you don't get a lot of love from the state parties anymore, on either side, I don't think. I hear this on the Republican side, too, that you have to raise monies to be able to have your headquarters and all that. And I get all that, but I mean, I know that this weekend they have the Democratic, the spaghetti dinner this weekend.
18th, isn't it? 18th, next weekend.
Is it next
I
weekend?
think it's next weekend.
I can't remember.
I don't know. But it's $40 a person.
Yeah.
And that's $80 for two people to go to a spaghetti dinner. Same thing. You know, want to contribute, but it's like, all of a sudden it's $80 to go out for spaghetti. I mean, exactly the point that I'm trying to make. Some people look at it as like, it's $40. What's the big deal? And there's a lot of people in the community that are like that. There's some people that have from Cheshire County and in Keene that are doing well, and $80 for spaghetti doesn't mean anything. But there's a lot of people that would like to attend.
Well, that's the thing.
Can't
I mean,
afford that.
I get it. I get it that it raises money. It raises money for what is important, for so that they can run the office, they can put out ads, they can support their candidates. I get all that. I'm just saying, are you having other events where if you can't afford that, other people of socioeconomic standing can attend those events too?
Or you say, okay, the spaghetti dinner, the recommended is $40, but if you can only afford 20, we'll quietly take 20. But you know what? If you're one of those people in the area that's doing pretty damn well, and you want to give us an extra $100, we'll take it.
Yeah.
And in the end, I think it averages out anyhow.
Yeah.
But
That gets messy though.
yeah, whatever. You know.
That's work. Try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So.
But simple.
But the message is, I think the overall message, what I'm hearing from you is that,
I'm hearing it from a lot of people that they don't get involved anymore because they're priced out of it.
Right. Yeah.
They're priced out.
Or you look at certain boards to get on or not to get on because there's an expectation, and I just don't want to be locked into that. I'm not a great. I couldn't be you and sell cars. I have a hard time doing cold calls, which I don't think you do, but
No,
maybe
don't do that anymore.
Or somebody walking through the door, and
It's like selling politics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could, but I don't think I. So like when I have to sell like tickets to something, it's just I have a hard time asking my friends, do you want to? And now I would never ask you because you wouldn't pay.
Yes, leave me alone.
But you know what I'm saying. So that hurts too because then people think, do I really want to be on this or that? But you can help in other ways. It's like I'm a lion, a part of the Lions Club. And I get razzed every time I go because I don't go maybe once a year. There's a few of us that go like once a year, and so. But I'm used to that now. I'm used to them. I'm used to knowing I'm going to walk in that place and I'm going to. Oh, we have a visitor today on the announcements or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the because I just can't commit on the level I used to in the past.
Well, you have to work for a living too.
Yeah, you have to balance it all out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that a lot of people have to do too. Is like have a job.
Yeah.
It's like I probably should show up this week.
Yeah.
But I know if I tell all my friends if I had Chris's money, I'd burn mine. It's like
My money? Yeah. Okay. Hey, have you played any paddleball yet?
pickleball.
Pickleball.
I haven't.
Pickleball. Sorry.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't. But we talked about this a few months ago when it was winter. I've got to get out there and play because it sounds like something you can play and not be in super great shape. I'm in better shape than I was a few months ago. I'm actually working my way back into things again, but that sounds like fun. You and I, we have to go out and play and report back here.
Yeah.
Kind of like badminton, tennis combination.
Yeah. It's.
Have you played
It's
yet?
just not bad on your knees. No. And I want to, but I've watched people play.
You're like, I can do that.
I can do that. Yeah. I could. That's great. So, what else do you have? Anything else?
What time? We got 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, there was one argument you probably heard recently, and we might as well just dive into it. And it had to do with a realtor in Keene had volunteered some work about selling some property on Lower Main Street.
Oh, so Mr. Johnson.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden came to the city saying, "Hey, I want some money."
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, where's the contract? It's like, well, I don't have a contract, but I did some work on good faith and I want some money. And I'm one of those that said, no, it doesn't work that way. If you have a contract with the city, we pay you. In one of the issues is, especially a realtor and a broker knows, if you're selling a house or a business, you better damn well have a contract.
Yeah.
And all of this was new to a lot of us. That the first that I'd heard about it was when basically he came looking for money, and some people have said, well, one of the city councilors basically just said, well, let's just give it to the city manager and let her pay what she thinks his time and effort was worth. Mm-hmm. And the majority of us said, no, you don't do that with taxpayers' money. I mean, what kind of precedent are you setting when you don't have a contract, but you're going to allow a city manager just to give away an arbitrary amount of funds?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So I know I heard them talking about it on WKBK the other day, that Dan and a couple other people were saying the big bad city council wouldn't give them some money. I mean, the day before they're complaining that we spend too much money, then the next day they're saying we're not spending enough money. So my argument on that, Chris, is if you expect money to come out of the city of Keene from city council, you better have a signed contract.
Have you guys ever, I mean, I can't think, have you ever been in that position where you've paid somebody something for work that you didn't have a contract with?
I've been on the council 21 years, not once has that ever happened. Never. Especially when it comes to real estate, any real estate transaction.
Well, why didn't he?
It's kind of bizarre.
What I don't understand is why isn't he getting a? He worked with someone,
The company that wound up buying the land.
right, to get that land, and so why didn't he have a contract with them? I mean, he's coming to you
I hear
after
you.
the fact, but I just don't understand it. I mean, I think it's too bad because I think he did go out. He did find a company that's willing to go into a spot that's been empty for a long period of time. I get all that, but I don't disagree with you that if, you know, more is that, you know, by you guys moving and doing that, would you be setting some level of precedent that says that now, you know, others may have this opportunity? Remember, you guys did it for Mr. Johnson, and I went out and, you know, you had a little space here, and I found a business to go in there, and, or I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's too bad because he did a good thing. He found a spot that was being empty, and he's filled it. But it's like what, $7,000 some odd dollars?
Yeah.
It was. I don't know.
You know, you bring up a good point too, because the argument is, well, was this your client?
Well, that's
Because apparently you don't have a contract with your client either.
I mean,
It was bizarre.
did anybody reach out to Froiling and see if what their take on this all was?
You know, apparently their off the record take was, you know, they didn't have a contract, and it's like, you know, it's not our prerogative to go digging in to find out why or why not they don't have a contract with somebody.
Yeah, but is there some level of good faith? You know,
And that's one of the argument on the city. Whatever happens on their end, that's them. Whatever private business wants to do,
Yeah.
that's their gig.
Yeah.
You know, our issue is we hold the tax dollars. Okay, and basically the way that I looked at it, somebody came in. I don't have a contract, but trust me, and I want some of your constituents' tax dollars. Isn't
the argument that for years Jack Dugan would go out and find companies to move into certain places, and he wasn't getting anything for those any finder fees for those things.
No,
and
you're right.
and so his board said, stop. If the city's not going to give you anything for it, you need to focus in this area, this area, and this area. And because you're burning up a lot of energy on this, and we're not getting anything for it, and look at what we've created, and so it's just interesting. It's interesting.
It leaves like I said, it left a big gray area with a slippery slope if you do that. If you just arbitrarily, and mind you, there was no figure on the table. One of the counselors, it was actually Counselor Hansel, said let's send to the city manager and let her just think whatever it's worth to pay him.
Has Mr. Johnson been on the radio?
Not that I know of.
With Dan or anybody? Because
I don't think he's been on. A couple of the counselors that were in disagreement with me were on, saying we should pay him. And you know, once again, like you said, it's
But what are they basing that on?
Basing it on, they just said it was good faith. But when you're an elected official, you don't give away money without a contract. I don't care how feely you want to be and in good faith and all of that. If there's not a contract, you're not getting taxpayers' dollars. So if you're dealing with a city, we want to deal with you. But if you're going to get paid,
interesting.
You're going to have a contract.
I mean, again, I feel bad for Mr. Johnson because he did go out and find something, but it's sort of out of your hands.
If you're a realtor, you're a realtor, you know you have a contract.
I understand.
It's pretty simple.
I understand.
It ain't rocket science.
See you next.
You know, it ain't rocket science.
Weeks.
Yeah, we have 3 seconds left. 2, 1. We're out of here.